Federal prosecutors in Minnesota have quit due to pressure from the Trump administration to scrutinise the victim in last week's Minneapolis shooting. Members of the House Democratic Caucus announced on Tuesday that they have taken a stance calling to defund ICE.
The pushback in Minnesota is increasing. Not only is the now daily tug of war between federal law enforcement and the people on the ground physical, it's also ratcheting up legally. The day after DHS was slapped with a lawsuit accusing it of unlawfully commandeering state resources, members of the Congressional Progressive Caucus announced they will move to temporarily defund immigration enforcement operations.
We cannot and we should not continue to fund agencies that operate with impunity.
Also Tuesday, the first assistant U.S. attorney in Minneapolis and at least 5 other federal prosecutors resigned amid pressure from the Trump administration on how to handle the case of Renee Good, who was fatally shot by an ICE agent in the city last week.
When you see wholesale resignations like this, it's very concerning.
Since then, federal law enforcement sources say around 1,000 additional U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents are expected to deploy to Minneapolis. Undeterred, President Donald Trump announced Tuesday that the federal government will not make any payments to sanctuary cities or states starting February 1st. The lawsuit filed Monday by the state of Minnesota and the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul, accuses DHS of violating the 10th Amendment, interfering with Minnesota's authority to govern and disregarding state law. I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
Protests continue in Minneapolis after a woman was fatally shot by an ICE agent. State investigators were in the area speaking with residents.
Minnesota investigators are going door to door in Minneapolis at the scene of last week's deadly shooting by an ICE agent. The State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension says it's collecting its own evidence after the FBI took charge of the investigation.
The violence, the complete impunity with which these agents are operating, we need to make sure that these people are not masked. We need to make sure that there is real accountability in all of these investigations.
It comes as DHS doubles down on defending the officer who fatally shot 37-year-old Renee Nicole Good, arguing he acted in self-defense. The agency says it's deploying more federal officers to Minnesota to protect other ICE agents.
Was this done to be anti-government and to try to change the behavior of ICE? And if the answer is yes, then sure, that's domestic terrorism.
But it's prompting criticism from some Democratic lawmakers that the administration is trying to, quote, cover up the shooting. Language the White House says could lead to more violence against federal officers.
President Trump and the entire Trump administration stands firmly with the brave men and women of ICE.
As the investigation continues, protesters gather outside a federal building in Minneapolis demanding accountability. The Trump administration says it's made more than 2,000 immigration arrests in Minnesota since the operation began last month.